Welcome back once again to Yosef's garage Hanukkah candle lighting event thing. Let's go ahead and get this sucker going. So once again, as mentioned before, if you don't have a more kind of traditional candelabra setup, you can always buy a little tea light. That'll work just as well. Light it. Put it in your windowsill or somewhere where the public can see it, because that's the main point of Hanukkah. It's one thing to know good and life-changing principles for yourselves, but, as someone once said, what is the point of a lamp if you keep it keep it hidden, but, you want to be a light in the darkness. So here we go. Before you light it, you're going to say the traditional blessings. You can find those on any website. Just look up Hanukkah lighting blessings. Take the shamish, which is used to light these, and you begin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher qiddashonu b'mitzvoto u'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Hanukkah. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us regarding dedication, regarding the lighting of the flame of dedication. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who wrought miracles for our forefathers on those days at this time. I'm going to use this to make the bottom of the shamish candle stick a little better. You don't have to have this little light here to help you, but normally I would just use the cigarette lighter, but since the phone is in my hand, I can't do that, hence the tea light. It's a little bit, maybe I'll soften it a little more. Definitely don't want to cause a fire hazard, so hence the tray. Cheap little tray. I think it was like $1.50 something. Okay, let's put this up in the seal. See that some of them weren't it's not stuck well enough, so try again. There we go. It's good. All right. So it occurred to me earlier. Let's see the angle, not too many shadows. It occurred to me today as I was coming home to light the menorah that, of all times in the year, that I could have gotten a passenger who was the most staunchly and disgustingly anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, was this week during Hanukkah. And I couldn't share my thoughts with her because, well, I don't want to get a terrible rating and get kicked off of Uber. But am I the only one that sees the irony in this? Islamic Arab Islamic occupiers in the land of Israel, claiming to be indigenous to the land of Israel and that Jews should get the heck out of there and go back to Europe, where, as everybody knows, they were massacred after centuries of severe persecution and other massacres, though not quite as successful as the Holocaust. Am I the only one who sees the irony that she tries to, well, she didn't try, the entire ride she's like spilling this crap into my ears, and I'm just trying to act like a naive random American, curious to see to what extent she will go to spread her vitriol. The irony that she's doing this on Hanukkah, a Jewish holiday, which is intrinsically tied to the land of Israel. You have from the books of Maccabees, which are included, some of them are included in the Apocryphas. You can find it in any Bible that has the Apocrypha, the Catholic Bible certainly. From archaeological evidence which has been dug up from the ground. Not to mention that the books of the Maccabees were preserved among non-Jews all these centuries. It's not a Jewish conspiracy. Well predates the modern Palestinian nationalist movement, which is a complete modern invention post-establishment of the Jewish state, though they were trying to destroy the attempts at Jews living in the land of Israel even before then, even before there was a state. Yes, how tolerant. Religion of peace. But the irony that they accuse Jews of being foreign occupiers in the land of Israel when Jews celebrate Hanukkah, possibly the only holiday that originated in the land of Israel, aka Palestine. Why don't Palestinians, who claim to be indigenous, celebrate any of the indigenous customs of the land of Israel, any of the indigenous customs of Palestine? Why is it that every aspect of their ideology and culture, other than a few insignificant culinary similarities with Jews and people all over the region, but why is it that all of their cultural practices originating from Arabia, why don't they do Hanukkah, a Palestinian holiday? Why is it that they don't observe the customs that are recorded in the ancient Palestinian Talmud? How ironic. Only Jews follow those customs. But yeah, just one case in point among myriads. I mean, heck, even the New Testament, in the book of John, it refers to Jesus walking in Solomon's colonnade in the winter during the holiday of Hanukkah. This ain't no modern day Jewish conspiracy, nor an ancient conspiracy. It's simply facts. And facts don't care about your feelings. Yeah. So, Hanukkah is a testimony to the indigenous origin of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. It is true that there are other people who are indigenous to the land of Israel, who were there even before Abraham arrived to the land of Israel. But those people no longer exist, neither as an ethnic, genetic nation, nor as a cultural nation. They don't exist. They did intermingle with the people of Israel as the people of Israel continued to live in the land of Israel. They intermingled with them, genetically intermarried, also intermarried with the Phoenicians and the Arab people, surrounding peoples. But they no longer exist as a distinct people. Yeah, and multiple sources for that intermixing as well, by the way. The festival, the holiday of Hanukkah, is based on the concept of the rededication of service to God in the temple in Jerusalem. The entire holiday testifies to the fact that there was a temple in Jerusalem. That's the whole story of the Maccabees. I mean, part of it, a major part of it. And also Jewish independence in the land of Israel. Kicking out foreign occupiers. Jews kicking out foreign occupiers in the land of Israel. It was the Greeks, but the Greek Empire, not exactly ethnic Greeks. It was mostly regional, non-Jewish peoples in the area that were military representatives of the Greek Empire at the time, as well as a large portion of Hellenized Jews who hated the Jewish faith and Jewish tradition and allied with them in attempting to oppress and extinguish the Jewish faith. You can kill their bodies, but you can't kill their soul. Some flames will never die. That brings me back to the idea of what it means to be a Jew or Jewish. During a time in history, currently, which is really unique to modern times, when the majority of the Jewish people are essentially cut off from the traditional Jewish people, and they have no connection to the Jewish faith or Jewish customs, Jewish identity, other than the fact that they had some family members die in the Holocaust. And they have like that family history, which is not meaningless, it's meaningful. But that makes them no more Jewish, if that's the essence of their being Jewish. It makes them no more Jewish than someone who's not Jewish, who has Jewish ancestors. I mean, according to Jewish law and Jewish tradition, you can be a non-Jewish person and have Jewish ancestors. But it goes through the mother, or if somebody converted to the Jewish faith. But yeah, you throw away Jewish traditions, Jewish values. That is the essence of Jewish identity, not some DNA. If it were DNA, then even a child of a Jewish father without a Jewish mother would be Jewish without conversion, but that's not the case. Or if you go by patrilineal descent, then even someone born of a mother but without the father would be Jewish. So clearly it's not a matter of DNA. It's a matter of connection to the Jewish tradition, the Jewish faith and heritage. Hence, people are able to convert to the Jewish faith. But the same is true with the United States and with any country, with any national identity. Similar to the Jewish people of the United States, although it was founded by a certain more dominant small handful of ethnic groups, mostly European, that's a fact. But its self-definition was never based on DNA, never based on racial identity. It was based on principles of liberty, freedom, respect for other people's rights, and limited government, which only fulfills certain basic roles and doesn't intrude upon our lives. And in the same way as the Greeks, who attempted to destroy the Jewish nation, even from within, via the anti-Jewish Hellenized ethnic Jews, who hated the Jewish tradition. So also in our times, the modern day American Hellenizers, for lack of a better word, they're really Marxicizers. And isn't it odd how history kind of is a mirror of itself? They're trying to destroy the Jewish, the American society, American nation, from within, by making being American nothing more than a geographic designation and nothing to do with traditional American values. But you destroy those values and you're destroying the identity of the nation. So we need to be Maccabees. Gotta fight. When you have no other choice, you have to fight. The Maccabees, the main characters in the Hanukkah story, were very devout and religious people. But they realized, just as God said to Moses in the Torah at a certain point when the Israelites were fighting those who were attacking them in the desert, and Moses turned to God in prayer, and Moses was told by God, why are you praying? Go down and fight. There is a point in time when you need to stop just praying and actually do something. I don't think we're yet at that point in the United States, but if we don't start being more active in non-combative ways, eventually it'll get to a point where we will be forced to be combative if we want to survive. We're not supposed to rely on miracles. God can do miracles, but don't put him to the test. Rely on miracles when there's absolutely no other choice, no other alternative. But when you have the power to vote, to be active and do activism and educate, don't rely on miracles. Do what you can. When you have the ability to fight, when the time makes it necessary, you fight. And rely on a miracle when there's no other choice. Nothing lasts forever, which is the whole need for revival in Christian communities. And Hanukkah is the Hebrew word for rededicating yourself. It's basically like the Jewish national revival. So America, it's time for your Hanukkah. Yalla bye.